Okay. Let me know if you can hear me and if everything's good. Are we live? Hey, everybody. Friday morning. All good. Great. Adrian. Hey, buddy. Yeah, Adrian, I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, we take a peeksies at the frickin' morph injection Garbo saga that has just been driving me nuts for the past hour. Cool. Patricio, is that how you say your name? Patricio on code? Good to see ya. Throw you a discussion to fast look. Sure. Yeah, you guys can throw anything you want in here. If there's, if it's annoying or something, I'll tell you. Like, I don't want to, focus on your specific thing, but I'm happy to field stuff. Anything you got, questions, now's the time. If you want to tell me what to work on, if there's a bug that you want me to work on, whatever, just hit me. And if you probably can't paste links in the chat, I don't think so. Maybe just tweet at me, or describe it to me, or maybe put the discussion number. Just say like discussion and then what number it is inside the chat, and then we'll work on it. Use teleport. Nice. Cool. Yeah. Great. Teleport is really, I built this for Alpine and then made so Alpine has X teleport and at teleport in Livewire's source support teleport. This is the entire source code for supporting teleport. It's literally like make a new directive called teleport and just use Alpine, which is fun. Those are the most fun. Form injection stuff. Adrian, what are you talking about? All right, let's check out somebody's discussion. If you're just coming in, again, we're just chilling right now. Throw in any questions you have, anything you want to talk about. Hit me up with any discussions you want me to look at or issues or pull requests or whatever. We're just going to chill. And then if it feels like we're, I don't know, we got some business to take care of that we're going to have to take care of. This isn't just all fun and games, folks. All right. Discussion number 6174. The year of Livewire. I listened to that yesterday. That was pretty funny. That's a cool podcast. If you guys, two new podcasts that I've been digging are my buddy Daniel's. His is, what is it called? Talking Businessly. And that's really awesome. And then what's Ian and Aaron's thing called? Mostly Technical, I think. And yeah, so I'm not a podcast listener, I gotta say. Even though I record them, I don't really listen to them, but I've been listening to those two and really digging them. Okay, and then is there any news about Wiretap? No, Wiretap isn't something I'm gonna focus on until I get the other big things done. But then it'll be the very next thing. So I need to get, basically my goals are get Livewire just more settled than it is, code base wise. But then I have to record screencasts or something to make money, because I have to make money again for a little bit, and then I can work on the free stuff. But yeah, like I filed for a tax extension, so I have to pay taxes in October, and I'm going to get slammed. So yeah, I need money, and so yeah, literally my wife's like, "Are we gonna be? We're not poor. It's fine. Like, this is not me saying I'm poor, but we have a bunch of cash, but it's all going to go away when we pay taxes." And she's like, "Is this like a problem? Are we going to be okay?" And I'm like, "I have 2 months. Like, I'll just make a few screencasts, no problem. People will pay me. No problem. Right? You'll pay me." Yeah. So, but I am super stoked about Wiretap. I cannot wait to work on it and focus on it, but it's not it could be something that makes me money if I charged for it, but I don't think I want to do that. All right, so let's look at this first discussion here, and then Adrian's got another one. I'll open Adrian's as well. 6565. 6565. I hope you all have your tea for morning tea. All right. Form object hydrate rules into component before mount. Component form rules injects before component mount sets. Oh, I think, and then you get, yeah, okay, so let's see. Also, this discussion references to, okay. Yeah, these are things to dig into. Yep. Yep. Interesting. Josh Hanley said something about this. So, all right, we'll probably take a look at this. Yeah, this is one of those things. Hey, yo, Jason Beggs, what's up, brother? James Brooks, it is Japanese. Nope, it is Chinese tea, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. The problem with British tea is you put milk in it and stuff. And that's just not the way to do it, personally. I gotta say. I'm talking to a Brit, but yeah, I like loose leaf. This is yeah, you can drink it black. I hear you. I've drinking tons of English tea in my day, being an American, who we got our tea from the English. Alpine Components, isn't that going well, Patricio? Yes, I do make money on Alpine Components. That's a good revenue stream, but it's not really enough for like full time for me. A little more discussion about 6174. Yep. Okay, yeah. So Daniel, we are going to tackle this. This will be kind of the first thing, but we're just going to hang out for a second and talk about tea. Let me put my camera on for a second. I'm going to show you my room and my unkept, unshowered face so that I can show you my tea setup briefly, okay? So this one's for James Brooks. Team Tea. Oh, yeah, Andrew. Mark Beach, Yorkshire tea. Yeah, so I gotta say, let me just shit on English tea and make some enemies for a second. That's a joke, because I do actually drink English tea. Okay, let me put my face on. How do I do this? Video capture device. FaceTime. All right, so yeah, I have like all these, containers up here of like loose leaf teas. So this is like a green tea, and this is like a different kind of green tea. All the Japanese teas are so varied. Like they all look so different. They taste so different, but they're just tea, which is really cool. And today we're drinking charcoal. What is this? Charcoal roasted Gande Village Tea Guan Yin Oolong. Tea of anxiety or whatever. But you take a bunch of loose leaf tea, you put it in this thing called a gaiwan, just like that, and you put like a good amount of it, like that's a good schmeckle of tea. And then you got your kettle on the desk that's always on like 195, and then pour it over that, steep it for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then pour a little bit into this like glass, and then drink that, and then do it again and again all day. It's awesome. So that's how I tea, and I just wanted to show that to you. So there you go. Yeah, it's the same box. It's going to be there for months. Darko. Switching to tea for the rest of the day. Nice. Yeah. Logan, hey, buddy. Oh, Andrew got fired because he's Team Tea. Yeah, Yorkshire tea's good. I have a bunch of Yorkshire tea, actually. But, yeah, I've gone through a lot of phases with tea, and my current phase is loose leaf Japanese tea. Yeah, we definitely got a tea up. But I do love all tea. Iced tea, every kind of tea. Oh, cool, yeah. Yeah, I get all my tea from this place called US Tea. What is it? TeaSource.us China tea. Ah, shoot. Where do I get my tea from? What a bad advertisement. Let me I'm gonna find this tea. Off stream. Go to email. Search for tea. And yeah, Yunnan. I don't know how to speak Chinese. Yunnan sourcing, but the US one. They have a US one and they have a China one. And yes, this place is awesome. If you're looking for tea, this place is insane. You get this tea like straight out of the mountains. The mountains where literally like tea evolved and was invented, basically. And you pick your stuff. You can get like sampler packs, and it's just killer. I found this place, and I'll never use anything else. It's so awesome. You can get all your teaware here, your sweet Guy wands and teacups and everything. Oh, can't you tell I don't want to work today and just want to talk about tea? Tree selects. There aren't many tree selects in the tall stack. Team without milk. Yeah, no milk. No milk, no sugar. Yeah. Coffee is greater than tea is greater than black tea. Yeah, I usually default to green tea, but yeah, I like all tea. All right, folks. Should we look at some stuff? There's this thing to look at. This is, who sent me this? This is Daniel sent this, and then Adrian sent this. Yeah, these are the kinds of things that are probably good to look at because they are confusing to me, and they take a second to sort of get your head in the headspace. And even if you do, you're still not sure like which direction to take it. So let's look at one of these. Let's dive into this problem. All right, I think we should recreate this in Livewire Next app, and let's pull that up. This is just the little app that is connected to my local Livewire, and oh man, windows are so weird. Okay. All right, isn't my PR covering this? I don't know. I don't know anything. Let's recreate what this person's doing. So they got a form, they got a component, and that's that. And then they have some rules, and then they get some sort of issue. So let's make a component here. Let's make sure. Okay, yeah. So we have this RME. This is a little tip I use. You've probably heard me talk about this, but any temporary file I create, anytime I need to spin up a quick project or just git clone something that is just kind of throwaway, or create a component just to test something, I always call it RME for remove me. Because if you do that, then next time you do something temporary, you'll go like touch RME to create something, or Laravel new RME, and then it says it already exists. And so then you trash the old one. It's a contract for yourself so that you always know that you can trash the thing. You know how sometimes you create temporary things, but then when you come back to them, you're not sure if they're valuable or not, if like you can actually just destroy them. But RME means you can always destroy me, which I just think is a good pattern. It's super useful for myself. Okay, so here's going to be our component RME. Let's just copy all of this, paste it in, and all right, we need a form called user form. So artisan Livewire form user form. Okay, and that's going to be our user form. We import that, and then this form create. We're going to close modal with events. I think we can get rid of that because we don't have panel users modal, manage users modal. We'll still render RME, and then here's what's data come from: mount, form fill, user where. Do we even have a user model? Let's look at our user model quick. I don't know. I guess let's tinker and then say user first, and this will tell us if we even have a database set up. Yeah. Oh, because I misspelled it. Okay. User first. Connection refused. Yeah, I don't even have that. I guess we could create a quick database. Nah. I don't know. We're going to use Sushi, I guess, because we just want to get up and running fast. Name, email, password. Okay. Let's composer require klib Borzio/sushi. Okay. And then now use Sushi. And now we can say protected. Whoops. Oh, my keyboard. I'm in another layer. And how about now? Okay. All right, protected rows. And now we can just add a few rows to our thing without having to actually create like a database. So name, email, password. Name is yo. Email is you@there.com. And then password, I guess we want it to be like an actual password hash, but let's just see if that lets us get by here. And now if we tinker, user first, sushi not found. Thought I imported it. Maybe it wasn't available yet. Sushi is found. Let's try this again. Okay, so now we have a user model setup. Okay. There was a demo repo. That's so funny. This whole time. That's very funny. You ever think to pass PHP Storm for just to use Laravel idea? Yeah, I don't know. People love PHP Storm. Jeffrey is now convinced that like PHP Storm is the only way, the one true IDE, and that's possibly true, but I don't know. I actually did try to like really give it a go a few months ago, and it's just that I probably didn't give it enough time of a go, but it didn't feel like enough of an upgrade. Oh, it was because I was working. It was somewhere in Livewire 3. Oh, and I was pulling in. I wanted to refactor a bunch of stuff, and VS Code just isn't as nice for refactoring. So I thought, like, I'll pull in PHP Storm. Let's really see. Can this juice me up? And it didn't. It just wasn't that much better at knowing stuff and like moving namespaces around and whatever. Like I could rename symbol and it'll like rename this class and file and all of its references in my code base for me. So, which is pretty nice. So yeah, PHP Storm plus Laravel IDEA. I don't even know what Laravel IDEA is. That's the thing where you like bootstrap up a bunch of stuff, right? Code generation, yeah. So interesting. How does this work? Is this Pavolis? Did he make this? So you basically, what do you do? Where's the, I don't want to watch a video. I just want to see like how it works, you know? So everybody loves Laravel IDEA. Is that a thing? Yeah. Who asked about wiretap? I'm not sure I can pronounce your name, but no news on wiretap. I'm trying to make money first, I talked about this earlier, but I need to like do some screencasting, and then I need to sell something, and then I'm gonna do wiretap for free. Oh my gosh, I forgot to pour out the tea that I've been steeping, and now it's gonna taste like garbage. Oh, this is so sad. All right, so everybody loves Laravel IDEA. Interesting. I'll have to try it out. We should try it out on stream sometime. Maybe we'll do it in a second here. Is it free? Students and open source. So you can just kind of install it somehow. Oh, it's a plugin for PHP Storm. Duh, because that's what you guys were saying. It's a plugin for PHP Storm, which I'm not even sure I don't have on this computer. So, all right, that would be, I hear you. I hear you. Probably cool. Auto completion for everything. Not by Pavolis. Okay. Oh, route auto completion. That's cool. Yeah. So Laravel IDEA, it's just like it's Laravel. It at least, I'm sure it provides a bunch of stuff like code generation and whatnot. But like in Laravel, if I do this and I just start typing like livewire dot something, or like it'll autocomplete my views, like things that a normal IDE can't do, it knows how to do. Is that the idea? Yeah. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I need to drink more milk through tea. Autocompletes the view paths. Yeah, there's things like that I'm like, oh, it would be nice to have. Oh, it works for wire model? Like this, you can just start. That's pretty cool. Wow. Livewire attributes. Pretty cool. Wow, I'm surprised I haven't heard more about that. You know? Somebody should do that for VS Code. Okay, so we're trying to recreate a bug here or something like it. So let's fill out this form. So we created this user form and let's paste it in. Locked, ID, rules, some field unique, table, column, this ID, user, update or create this ID, this arrow validate. All right, user, let's import that. Okay, and then let's try to render this. So let's render RME and see what happens. All right, refresh, unable to resolve dependency. Is that the problem? Is this the error that we get? Does anybody know? Or do I actually have to read more? Okay, so component form rules injects before component mount sets ID property. So what he's saying is in mount, we want model ID from, I don't understand. Would love some extra context. Caleb, open demo repo. No. I already did this, so I feel like we got this, right? If a view does not exist, you can create it immediately, which is really nice. Like, I already have the failure, right? Oh, funny. Okay. All right, Adrian. And this is the one that you're talking about? Like, literally? Okay. So you will understand if you do. Yes. So Adrian is saying this bug seems to be a lost cause. Might as well start the TypeScript rewrite today. Yeah, that's true. Oh, we should talk about TypeScript because we can't talk about, I don't talk about it on Twitter at all because I just don't want to like play into the ridiculousness. But here's the secret. I don't use TypeScript on anything. I've tried it and I hate it. So yeah, but these days people are getting crucified for hating TypeScript. All right. So given the following code, here's a form object. Client equals null. This is set in the component mount. I gotcha. Okay. And then rules. Okay. So to generate rules, validation rules for a form object, you need this to exist, is what you're saying. But this can't exist until the parent component runs mount and sets it. That's the problem? Is that right? Can you give me a yeehaw, someone, Adrian? That's the problem. Okay. Interesting problem. Might also be related. Good. These are the ones that I've been avoiding. So it would be great if it was also related to the synth lifecycle stuff, but we'll get into that. So this is an order of operations situation. Laravel Online can give me a year subscription to PHP Storm. Yeah, I appreciate that. I probably even pay for it. I don't know. Probably that time I wanted to use it, but I don't think I'm going to use PHP Storm until I feel pain from what I'm currently using. Dude, Taylor uses Sublime. Like, that is the ultimate reminder of like, the IDE doesn't matter. This guy who can code circles around me uses Sublime. Isn't that insane? Okay, so we have this problem. Here's the problem. You have a Livewire component. You have a form object that you're going to put stuff on. Like normally you might just have, the user write on the component, but you want to extract it into the form object, no problem. And then in mount, you get the form. And yeah, this is kind of like we could make this a little clear. Like, let's make this a wee bit clearer. You would do something like this form, and then, oh, there is fill. Yeah. I guess how would I do this? This is probably what I would do. Public, that's user equals, what am I doing? I don't know how coding works. So public user, and then we don't have to lock this. And then maybe I would have a constructor, or maybe just like set user or something. It would be nice to think about this to make it a little bit nicer. User equals user. I guess it's public, so we could set it from outside, but whatever. And then in mount, you would say like this form set user, and then user, it doesn't matter. We can just do this, and it'll still undefined property user form ID. I probably reference ID somewhere. Yeah, I guess this is kind of the bit. User must not be accessed. This is the problem. Yep, that's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, I think we're on the path here. So problem is when you have a component and you call and mount gets called, then you set something on the form. Rules has already been called, which this doesn't exist yet. So you just want basically it to get the validation rules after mount is called. So that's good context. Let's open up Adrian's pull request, if nothing more than for a failing test. Not that your implementation isn't good if you even did one. It might just be a failing test. So yeah, where's that view? There's, you know, that view where there's like a sidebar of files? Is that only when there's more space? It's like sometimes you get that view and it's really nice. All right, 6565. Check this out. I did this little thing with Stream Deck. So if I hit, do I even know how to use this thing? Yeah, okay. I have an open PR button, and I can just hit open PR, and it opened the wrong thing. But yeah, it opens VS Code for Livewire ideally and puts me in the pull request branch, so I don't have to do all that rigmarole, which is pretty fun. You just highlight that, and then Stream Deck pulls it and does stuff. I'm digging the Stream Deck, by the way. I started the stream with the Stream Deck. So, all right, so let's go to this test. Support form objects unit test. And what is that one called? All properties rules method. Okay. This is the failing test. And let's see what the error says. It says post should be available to run more complex rules. All right, but he's got this, you know, replicated here, where you have a form, you have mount, and then rules within this form stub. I imagine, you know, set post. Okay, he did exactly what I did. Yep. And then you have rules, and then he has an assertion in the rules, which I guess is okay. Sorry, Adrian, because you wrote this and I'm like making different decisions. But let's say, like, we can even just access it, right? This arrow post arrow ID, and just say access the ID in the rules. Yeah, not great, but whatever. And then we refresh and let's see the error. Now is attempt to read property ID on null. And we could even, why is that an integer? All right, whatever. I'll leave his test as is. We can rework the test later, but it does what it needs to do. All right, so yeah, post is an int. That's interesting. Okay, so we have this failing test. Let's look into how this system works. So basically, I think we should start with in the form. So in this post form rules stub here, when does rules get called? You know, I think that's the first thing we need to do. So in Livewire's code base, I generally start with like, this is what I want to figure out is when does rules get called and how hard is it to move it after mount? And this is going to deal with like, what is this to do? This is validation. So maybe we want to go into the validation system, or maybe this is more like form object stuff. I think it's more form object. So let's go support form objects. Okay. And now inside here, we have boot, we have initialize form objects. And then inside here, okay, form object synth boot form object. I want to see where rules get called. Merge outside attributes, attribute collection from component. So, okay, that's not quite it. Let's briefly look at the rule attribute and make sure that there's nothing calling rules in there. Where does this get called? This is funny. I wrote this thing. We need to figure out where, let me reground us here, where rules get called, because this was added later. Maybe it's inside form itself. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's go to base form. And yeah, this is it. Okay, so inside base form, and let's just see where add validation rules gets called. Yeah, inside support form objects. There's add validation rules to component. Okay, and this is where we build up, if method exists rules, call rules. And that's what the rules are. And then we get the component and we add the rules from outside. There's this little method I added where you can like gather rules from somewhere else and then add them to the root component. That's how forms work. Okay. So this gets called right here. Let's see where this is called. It's called in the constructor of form. And I guess we just don't want that. We want it to be lazy, right? So, and this is all happening because of a decision that I made. Let's go to the Livewire docs and you go to forms and let's look at form objects. Extracting a form object. Oh, I'm already there. Create the form, okay. And then you reference it right here, and it's instantiated automatically. And because it's instantiated automatically behind the scenes, like the alternative universe is where you have a mount method and I force you to instantiate it yourself. And if you did that, then everything would be fine because you would set up the stuff, whatever. But I do it automatically. So when I instantiate it, it's gonna have this. So this is kind of a chicken and egg scenario, maybe? Is it? I guess we just want rules to happen at the end of the first life cycle. Like, just let me ask you all this. So like, let's write out what's happening now. Component, I guess even before the component is mounted, right? It's like form object is instantiated. Then component mount is called, right? Form object is instantiated. Rules method is called and set. Component mount is then called. And this is the problem scenario because you often, inside rules, use properties that you set inside mount. So what we want to happen, I think, would be form object is instantiated, component mount is called, rules method is called, and set. Like that's what we want, right? The only scenario where this isn't what we want is like, does anybody ever validate inside of mount? Because if they do, this is going to break. You know, like if inside the mount method of your component, you did something like this, but nobody does that, right? Is this a security hole? If we introduce that, you know, but you wouldn't because you expect that in the mount method, you're going to set up properties. How does it work right now with the normal rules method on the component? That probably, if you have rules in your component and you're probably accessing something like this post, it's happening after mount, right? So that's what we want. Right. Adrian says a normal component this works. So you need to make sure to set all props. Yeah. Yeah, nobody's validating inside of mount. Okay, so we just need to defer this add validation rules to component, add validation attributes to component, and add validation messages to component, not inside construct. We need to defer them. And that's kind of the tricky part of like, how do we do that? Because this is just a plain object. I suppose, let's look at support form objects. This is how the source code of Livewire generally works, just to remind you. There's this features folder with all the features that have their own folder. So support form objects has its own folder. And then there's the tests are right in here. So the unit tests right here that Adrian submitted. And then all things related to form objects should be in this folder. And they usually start with support form objects should really be called like form object service provider, because it's this like, this is kind of the place that has all the hooks, like to hook into the service provider, to hook into the boot of every component. You know, this is that place. And then everything else is just extra stuff. Like this is form.php, the actual form object that you extend. And then form object synth, which we don't have to get into synthesizers or anything, but just so you kind of have a little bit of context right now. And we've been looking at form.php, where in the constructor, it gets all the validation rules and adds it. And I want to just go up a little bit and see if support form objects has something we can use. So this is in boot, initialize form objects. And to initialize form objects, we get the component, we get all the properties, and we initialize them. And then, so I think this could be fairly simple. We could do something like, and that's interesting that I did that on boot, because that means it's going to happen on every request. Yeah, it's like we need to in mount, you know, like let's see what happens if I dd hey from here. Okay, so support form objects, we dd hey, and then inside our test here, let's go into this component in mount. So we're going to dd component mount, and then let's go back to support form objects, and we're going to say form object mount and run the test and see which runs first. Neither was able to run, which kind of makes sense. So can we just comment out rules just to see for a second? Form object mount ran first. That's good, right? No, that's bad. Yeah, Erkin, that I am just another developer who doesn't know what they're doing. Ryan, good question. Hey Ryan, how's it going? So this is the problem, Ryan. I wrote it out somewhere. What's happening right now when you use a form object, like, you know, public form, like this inside your component, it's instantiated, you know, right away for you, so that inside mount, you can just type like this arrow form arrow set user or something, you know, you can set up the form object. However, if you use the rules method inside the form object, you're generally referencing something that you would be setting in mount. But because rules is called when this is constructed, when the form is constructed, it's a reverse, you know, the order's backwards. So you get these errors because in rules you reference like a user model on the form object that you tried to set in mount, but mount gets set after, so you get a on null issue or uninitialized or whatever. So what we want to happen is a form object gets initialized right away, then the component mount method is called, then the rules method is called after the component mount method is called. So we just kind of need a hook to do this. But that's the skinny. Hey, Steve, how's it going? And I feel like I at least have clarification on the problem, but I feel like this is the kind of thing, you know what? You guys just tell me. Do we want to keep hammering away at this or move on? I can't tell if I were you, are you confused right now? If you're confused, I think we should move on to a more interesting thing. We've already done the work of understanding the problem, so now I'm not scared of it. It's just like, do you want to sit here while I dig into the order of things in Livewire's code base and see if we can find a way to make it happen after mount? So you tell me, just write move on. Move on or dig in, basically. And no shame in either. I just want to know from you guys. I know, Adrian, I need to use the hook system, but it might not be that simple, but we will, because we need a hook between mount and the next thing. I think you should take some time to think. Dig in. Interested in watching you solve problems. Okay, people want to see it. All right. We're digging in. That's a pretty unanimous okay. Fairly unanimous vote. So let's dig in. All right. So this support form objects. This is a component hook. Most features in Livewire use this internal thing I call component hook, where you can just have a mount function and code inside here will run every time a component is mounted. But as we just found out, form object mount happens first. So this is not exactly what I want, because I want the components mount method to happen first. Then I need code to be able to run. So I'm just going to try something that's not going to work, but I just want to see, because there's a pattern that I've used in some places and ditched in others. Okay, so component mount happened, and that makes sense. Component mount, right? Now let's comment this out. And yeah, it didn't run at all. Let's see what the error is here. Missing rules property method and Livewire component. Let's run this. Failed asserting that null matches. Yeah, okay. Nice. I left Twitter just to watch. We got to get a second cup of tea going here, folks. Let's get this hot water. Mark is confused but entertained. Are we using TypeScript? I fight with my wife just to watch this. I don't know if you're serious, Krishna, but it's freaking funny. Exactly, Sammy. That's what you're barking up the right tree. A post mount hook. And I think I have the ability to do that, but I can't really access it easily. So we're going to have to crack something open. Hey, hi, Sky. Punyapal. I hope I... Punyapal? I hope I pronounce your name sort of right, but welcome to the stream, buddy. All right. So yes, what Sammy's saying is we need a post mount hook. Yeah. What I want, this is component mount, this is form object mount. I want this to run after component mount. And I used to implement something where if you returned a callback from a hook, it would run after the hook gets called. But I think I removed it for component hooks because I think I exposed this to user land and I didn't want to confuse people or something. I don't flip, dip, and remember. But check this out. Let's look at the source. We're going right. This is like if we open the hood of the car and right now we're just like tinkering with like the stereo. When I hit handle components, we just opened like the engine, you know. This is deepest, as deep as Livewire goes, basically code base wise. Door is always open, absolutely right. And yes, there is some fishing going on here. All right, we're going deep. We're going deep. That's cool that you guys want to go deep. I always think people want to stay like shallow, maybe because I do. But leans over to audience next to me and whispers, "What are we watching here?" Somebody, all right, I'll explain it briefly for Ferez, or somebody else might, but we're basically looking at a problem in Livewire where if you use form objects, and inside them you use a rules method, there's an order of operations problem where we need inside your form object, we need to gather all the validation rules after your mount method gets called, because you set stuff in your mount method on the form object that you need inside rules. So basically we just have to switch the order of something in the code base, and we don't really know how to do that yet. So we're still kind of discovering. So check this out, trigger mount. So all the lifecycle hooks happen with these triggers that are kind of deep in the code base. So this is like actually where the mount of the component happens. So I trigger mount, and then what I do inside here is I return this finish callback. And the question is, where does finish get run? So finish, oh, there's another way we could do this, maybe, whatever. Finish gets run, I guess let's just look at it. Bummer. That's dumb. I have, you know how I return that callback from mount? That would get stored in this variable, which gets called at the end of the mount after we've done everything. So our next available hook is basically render, but you don't always render, and that happens too late, right? Do you ever validate on the first request, or can we actually hook in a dehydrate? Riddle me that. Does anybody, this is the question, do you ever call this arrow validate on the first request of a component, meaning the component is mounted and showed on the page, or is it always after an update? Never. Right. Is there a scenario? Right? You don't. Never? No, I don't. Never for me. Always after update. That's an interesting thing, right? But you don't validate on the initial request. You just don't. So maybe we can hook in a dehydrate. Yeah, because if we did this here, and then, you know, inside here, like gathered validation rules. Oh, I'm a dummy. We have to gather the validation rules on every single request. Duh. Oh, my Lanta. So, mount, form object, mount. Right. That's, again, that kind of problem. Boot gets called. This is, when does boot get, all right, let's get some order down. All right, we have boot. I'm going to call this hook boot, hook mount, and hook hydrate, because I want to know the order that these things happen in. This is Philo's. This Philo has a PR all about this, because I think this order might be slightly off. But let's try this. Hook boot, hook mount, hook hydrate, and then let's go into that unit test, and inside inside here we'll do component mount, boot, hydrate. And I guess these should all be dumps, right? So they don't kill the process. Let's try that. All right. So hook boot gets called, then hook mount gets called, then component boot gets called, then component mount. Yeah. And then let's do this. Let's just refresh. Is that even an available method? Refresh does not exist. It should exist, right? Let's call refresh just to see how hydrate works. So on initial thing, hook boot gets called, hook mount gets called, component boot, component mount. Then the next request is hook boot, hook hydrate, component boot, component, hook boot, hook hydrate, component boot. I probably just duplicated boot. Okay. So, yeah, Adrian already caught it. Okay. Right, gotta go. Steve's bouncing out. He's like, this is too much. Thanks for hanging, Steve. All right, so just let's like log this here so that we have this. We go hook, boot, hook, mount. Initial request is hook, boot, hook, mount. Subsequent request is hook, boot, hook, hydrate. And this is component, boot, component, mount, component, boot, component, hydrate. So this is the order of operations. So let's just dwell on this for a second. Component mount is where properties... Okay, I don't know how to properly like document this, you know? This is sets properties in here. And I guess we want rules to happen, you know, here. Right? Because component mount is the last thing. But what we've been kind of saying is like maybe inside component hydrate. Right. So hook boot happens. All right, maybe we don't, on the initial request, maybe we don't set validation rules at all because we need that to happen after component mount. And then on the subsequent request, we can do it anywhere we want because you've already set data. So what if we did this? What if, yeah, so what if we use hydrate to do like gather form object validation rules, you know? No rules on initial run. Is that introducing a bug or something? Yes, Adrian, you're right. So is that what we should do? Should we just not gather validation rules? The only concern of mine is that if a developer calls this arrow validate, it's not going to like error out and be like, you can't validate on the first request. It's going to validate with incomplete validation rules. And they might not know that, you know? So somebody could sneak in data that they shouldn't. So it's almost like we should introduce a feature where we're preventing calling validate on the first request of a component, you know, which we could easily do. I imagine people would be a little mad and call it a breaking change. Yeah, the first request is always going to be a render. So, but we use, oh my gosh, this is a deep one. Can you gather them on the validate tool? I think so. Anyone trying to use rules on initial run is the problem rather than Livewire can be documented. All right, here's something, folks. Here's the question. Let's think a little differently. You're in a component and you have this. When does this get called? And I believe, when does your component validation rules support? Let's go into handle validation. Validate. This is the source of like in Livewire when you call this arrow validate. That happens right here. You call this arrow validate. We get the rules. Where do we get those from? This thing called get rules, where we get the rules. So this is with the component, this is a JIT, just in time, as needed. It's only going to generate the rules once you call validate. The problem is what we're doing is we're calling it right away. is there a way to sort of hook into the getting of the validation rules, you know? And there certainly is, but do we have to create that way? Is it, yeah. Rias, I don't know if you said that before I said that, but you're on point. That's what I'm after too. So yeah, like what if we did this? This is like, what if we rethought this slightly? Rules from component, if property exists, we get rules from component, we get rules from outside. Let's say this, rules from outside equals, like, I guess right here we could loop through form objects, you know, like on our, this is weird. Like what if we did, all right, let's see where rules from outside, how many places that's used. Like, is this all over the place? So there's add rules from outside in form and base rule. And then handles validation has rules from outside. So let's add another concept quick. Let's call this, we're just going to do it right in here. Protected rule getters. And then inside here, for each, say, for each rule getters, we'll make this public for a second, as rule getter, and then we'll call rule getter, and we'll say like, rules from getters, and then this equals like array merge rules from getters and rule getter. So basically this is what I'm kind of proposing, and then in here let's dd rules from getters. Okay. All right, so we're writing code. We have a bunch of stuff I'm going to strip out. I'm going to kind of get us back to this test in a place that kind of works. Okay, we'll get back to this in a second, but let's get back to a place of sanity here where we have mount and the business, and then let's rerun our test. Okay, we get that empty array. Perfect. So here's what I want to do. I want to, shouldn't we be getting that error inside here? We need this back. Okay. It seems like not all the rules are gathered with the automatic validation. Only after calling validate it actually get all the rules, including the array ones. Yeah. Oh, dynamic arrays can have a similar root to this problem. So maybe we can solve this. Maybe we can solve this. I don't know. But right now, let's remember that inside form.php, in the constructor, we're calling these things. Let's put this in a new method called get validation rules. I guess let's just comment this out, and this is kind of the idea here. Maybe it's like when this is constructed, we have the instance of the component, we say so this is in get rules. Okay. So get rules is on the component object, you know? So we can call rule getters and add a new callback where we return, let's just return hey for a second. Oops. Fail. Is this like, oh, because this is there. Argument 2 must be of type array, string given. Oh, right. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like when a form object is instantiated, before we were processing all the validation rules and messages and everything, where I think now we want to just put that stuff inside of a callback that then gets run, a callback that we store on the component so that when the component calls for a bunch of rules, it does it just in time with these closures, you know? Is this the right approach? Something like this, you know? So let's kind of build on rules from outside. Let's take rules from outside and let's say, yeah, rules from outside. And then this rules from outside. Let's make this like, we need rules from outside. We need messages from outside. It's like rules and messages and attributes is what we want. So it's almost like we need a method on the component called initialize validation from outside or something. And then this is a callback. And then we have like validation getters from outside or something. And then put in this callback. Works fine with automatic validation, but when using the array thing, yeah. Well, I'm a little stumped. You guys can tell me to keep going, but what we have to do is make it just in time. I think that's the answer. Let's at least like just pull our heads out of the weeds for a second and write this up inside here. We say, thanks for the failing test, Adrian. Here's the problem. A form object validation rules are gathered when the object is instantiated. Then the component's mount method is called. We need to just make sure that validation rules aren't being gathered before the mount method. There are two solution paths here. A. Solution path A, find or create a hook in the code base, or basically find or create a hook in the code base to gather form object validation rules. Solution path B, and we'll call this solution path JIT. Hook only provide validation rules when they are requested from a user via this validate. When they are needed by a user via this arrow validate. So hooks pros, most of the existing code stays the same as it is right now. Just find a new hook. Hooks cons is that we risk a user calling this validate before all the rules are gathered. That's the main con. JIT pros is basically the reverse of the cons and the pros. And the con is, yeah. So we just have to do some rewriting, I think. I think the clear answer here is the JIT approach. We just need to implement it in a way that doesn't feel horrible. And that's it, folks. I would say that that is, you know, we've understood the problem, we've explored the solutions, and we've found the solution we need. But I think for me, especially when streaming, I think while I'm streaming, I'm also keeping in my head the context that you guys have in your head. And I think when I'm like programming alone, I do a lot more, well, I can think more deeply and I can organize my thoughts better and I can explore different paths and not feel like I, you know, like when I'm streaming, I have to sort of explain what I'm doing as I'm going and that whatever. So what I'm going to do is just all my work that we just did. So that's gone. And then get back to main and just say that like these two things I'll fix on my own, or someone else can take a crack at it. This is all kind of outlined here. But yeah. And then I think Philo has something that's related to this problem, but once we fix our problem in the way we're going to fix it and not using hooks, it won't be related. But yeah, all right, back to the chat. We're surfacing for a second. Let's hang out. And what time do we got? 10:47. We're doing all right. Maybe another half hour or so. Okay. Validate. Yeah, docs tell about that. There's no. Yeah, what you guys are talking about the validation rule attribute limitations. Yep. Okay. New to the channel. What's up? Hey, Corey Bot. Not much. We're just we're programming. Florian, is there any chance you could look at 6559? Sure. All right. Let's do that. Isn't it dumb that Command D in Chrome doesn't duplicate a tab? It bookmarks it. That is frustrating. You with me? Does anybody ever do that? 6559. Do you want me to add a solution? I don't know, Adrian. You can, but you risk me like being overwhelmed by it and having to do it myself and scrapping your work, which would suck. But if you feel, you know, at your own risk, Adrian, of course I would really appreciate it. But like the validation system is already a system that feels a little too messy for me. And if I feel like it makes it more messy and I didn't write it, then I'm probably not going to do it because I feel like I need to understand it myself at least. Cool. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for bringing it up, bro. Does somebody else know why the NoScript HTML tag is triggered if I'm using wire navigate? What is NoScript? We're going to look at this, I promise, in a second. But NoScript runs when JavaScript's disabled, right? What? Freaking clicking on shit. All right, NoScript defines section of HTML. Oh, okay, so it's HTML to be inserted if a script type on the page is unsupported. Yeah, so if JavaScript is disabled, then NoScript gets run. That's where I've seen it, right? Okay. Where have I seen NoScript? I don't know. I don't know script. But Adrian says, well, you have a test and a short list of what the problem is. So yeah. Yep, Adrian, I think I'm good on that. Thank you. All right. So no script we got here because somebody said something about no script, and I'm too scatterbrained to even remember. Oh, no script doesn't work with wire navigate. Maybe explain a little bit more about that. All right, let's look at this PR that we pulled up. Raul, are you going to check issue randomly? Are you asking if we're just randomly looking at issues right now? And the answer is yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, back in 1980. Yeah, like why would somebody need no script right now? All right. So let's look back at 6559. Failing test for wireable not being able to update. And I've definitely looked at this. I don't have the context in my head right now, but let's look at the fail. It can update a custom wireable object. So, right. This is a new feature entirely, right? Like this didn't happen in V2. I should have commented on this, but I think you shouldn't be able, like let's say support wireables, and here's a unit test for wireables. And let's say that here's your wireable class where you have to Livewire and from Livewire. We can't really, the person is saying if you have like foo that's some wireable, you know, in your component, and then you have wire model foo.bar or something, and it's like, shouldn't Livewire be able to handle that? And the answer is no, I think, because, and I doubt this worked in V2, because the only interface we have with wireable objects is we call to Livewire to get all the JSON to send to the browser, and then we get from Livewire to get all that JSON back into an instance. And if we allowed you to wire model to it, we would just be allowing you to wire model to a random class, you know? Like we would, basically this would just be wire modeling to like public properties, which it's issue laden. Here's the answer. The answer is go to synthesizers, create a synthesizer for it. So I'm going to comment on that and say, yeah, so let's say it could be a security hole where people don't expect that their wireable object properties are mutable. The answer is to create a synthesizer for the object you want to support. Bingo. Close with comment. There you go. Thanks for having me check into that. Found a discussion for no script 629 with another user having the same issue. What's the purpose of wireables then? Wireables, here's the purpose. They are really support for something in V2, essentially, because synthesizers do everything wireables do and much more, but synthesizers are harder to implement. So, you know, they're also globally implemented. So I guess if you want all of this to live in the class itself, a wireable is the way to do it. You know, when you register a synthesizer, you register a separate class that has a method to detect if an object is of a certain type, and then you have all that stuff and it's isolated. So synthesizers they do everything wireables do and way more. Wireables are actually a synthesizer themselves. Like if you go into support wireables, wireable synth, it's just a synthesizer that says, is the object an instance of wireable? Okay, it is. Then on dehydrate, call to Livewire to get all the data. And then on hydrate, call from Livewire to basically pass the data back into and get the instance. So, yeah, wireables are just something I added support for V2. It's definitely a more user-friendly way to support custom objects in your Livewire components. But synthesizers are the true way, you know, the most powerful. Like sometime we should do a stream on synths and just show you how insanely powerful they are and how they allow you to we could hack the crap out of Livewire and do some really wild things using synthesizers, which is just pretty fun. All right. If you can't find inputs if I can't bind inputs to the individual properties. Oh, the purpose of wireables, if you can't bind inputs, is just to like store an instance of a class between requests. You can mutate it in the back end, but that's the purpose. Yeah, they're read only, but they're writable on the back end. They just can't be written on the front end. And if you think about it, you wouldn't like. Is that how it works in V2? Did V2? Florian, I think judging by your avatar, you made that pull request. So I hope you're not that mad that I just closed it. But then it wouldn't need a form Livewire method if it's intended to be read only a from while. Yeah, we do, because it has to, like, let's say, here's the example. So if you have a component, like this is there a instance of a component? Okay. And you have a wireable class, okay? Let's say in mount, you do something like, new, some wireable, some state, so there's actual state stored inside this thing. You set it as a public property, and then, on a subsequent request, you say this arrow wireable thing equals boo boo. And then that like changes it and it stays between requests, but it needs a way to get to JSON and back. And Livewire doesn't know how to turn an object, a bespoke object, into JSON. It gives you the control to do that. So does that make sense, Florian? That's the purpose of a wireable. But yes, they don't support mutation. That's something that maybe should be documented. If you're interested in documenting it, that would be great. Synthesizers support mutation. Inside synth, there's get, set, unset, call, and by default, they'll just yell at you if you try to do any of that stuff if you didn't implement it. But all you need is dehydrate and hydrate, which is like what wireables do. Yeah, so Patricio, screencasts on that. Let's see. Can we talk a little bit about WireStream? Yes. No, Daniel, WireStream is very basic in its existence right now, and it doesn't have any hooks for stream errors or anything like that. It could be a much bigger feature than it is. I'm trying to keep it constrained and scoped. You're right, it's not documented, but I have a pull request open where I'm documenting all the blade directive or the HTML directives, and WireStream is on that, and I am in the process of documenting that. So I'm aware of that. My bad. I will get that out when I do, but I am working on it every day. Okay. Carol says, hi Caleb, when will the Alpine components be out of beta? Do you plan to add new components there? Yes and yes. So they're going to be out of beta when I take the time to just make sure, they're pretty stable. It's just, do I want to lock myself into all the APIs that we've decided on? And I think the answer is yes, but there might be like a word or two that I'm going to change. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just bump it out of beta and call it a day. But yeah, that's something I need to put my attention on for sure. Okay. I would love to thank you for all your amazing work. Hey, thanks, Laravel Screencast. Then it wouldn't need a from Livewire method if it's a 10, right? And thanks for Caleb. Can we talk about WireStream? Yep, we just did. Is there any documentation on synthesizers? Yes, the documentation on synthesizers is in advanced at the bottom, and I think I do a pretty good job of really laying out exactly how they work in a deep enough way that you can understand and create your own. I'm not sure, I have hydrate and dehydrate. Yeah, and then I have a section called support data binding where I show you how to implement get and set, which is very simple. It's very simple once you get into it a little bit. All right, Patricio, are you saying screencast on the synthesizers? Yeah, they're pretty freaking cool. Yeah, Shane, right? Laravel Online. Oh, I gotta say Shane. Oh, Shane? You're Shane Rosenthal. Yeah? I don't get this Laravel Online thing. I would love to see your face and Shane Rosenthal. It feels a little weird, but I get it now. In V2, you could model bind to a property. Was awesome. Yeah. Right. You can still model bind to dates and stuff. Like dates and stuff in Livewire. Date synth, maybe? Yeah, all the core synths are in source. Mechanisms, right? Where are they? Features? Where's synthesizers? Handle component. Okay, mechanism, handle components, synthesizers. These are all the core synths. And like a carbon synth doesn't support setting. Oh boy, that's weird. I should make that support setting. Sorry about that. Thought it was. That's dumb. You're dumb, Caleb. So it's the same as locked and accessible in front end. Yes, exactly, Adrian. Yep. Yeah, you should be able to frickin' model bind the dates. That's on me. Make some advanced usage content. Yeah. You could use signals for screams. Signal.add event listener .abort. That's true. Yep, that's true, and that would be a good use of signals. By the way, I saw a table section on Livewire homepage, and I could not see it in doc. Is there any plan about tables? Yeah, I guess the table section that I put on the Livewire homepage. You know what? I want to talk to you guys about something. I got... Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. What was I just saying? The discussion for no script described the problem quite well. Could you have a look or someone else? 6279. Let's look at this quick, and then we're going to get spicy. Okay. 6279. 279. It's not a pull request, but it knows. Okay. Tried out the new version after blah, 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 blah. Okay. They have this thing. If there's no script, redirect to a route for no JavaScript. Okay. The code gets triggered in the new Livewire version. This code gets triggered in the new Livewire version, but I don't know why. I see the Livewire full page component. Okay, so the problem is no script is running. It's not that it doesn't work as intended per se. It's that it's forcing it to run. Yeah. This is a bug for sure. It's a bug. All right, well, maybe we will work on it, but let's just talk quick about components and then we'll get back to it. Let's pull out a branch. What's this? Just random stuff? All right. Let's pull out a branch called fix no script in wire navigate. And then that's just kind of my little to-do at the moment. But let's talk. Make this markdown. Maybe. Is that what we want? Sure. Okay. I meant for the paid stuff in the near future. Regex status was skip. Oh my gosh, Adrian, don't even ask me about skip, bro. Don't even ask me. I spent freaking like a week doing crazy things and then I reverted all of them. Yeah. Paid stuff in the, Patricio, what did you mean about Vex? Yeah, make some advanced. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That could be cool. Entangle still does not work out, but the regex to find scripts tag catches also no script. Find script tags. Why would you turn off camera? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like having the camera on. Maybe this is a little bit confused. Yeah, right. It shouldn't be running on Wire Navigate. That's for sure. But here's what I want to talk to you guys about. Somebody asked about tables. Somebody was like, hey, tables. You said so in the homepage. I scrolled down and I went, oh, sick. They got forms. They got tables. They got charts. And then I went to documentation and there's nothing about a single table or a single chart. And you are right. And I hope this didn't seem disingenuous, because this sort of idea, this made a little more sense on Livewire 2, because you could go to screencasts and learn all about building data tables, and you could learn all about implementing third-party stuff like charts and forms and all that stuff. But Livewire 3 doesn't have any of those things, so it does seem a little weird that all of these things are possible and Livewire helps you make live data tables, but it doesn't give you a lot of guidance. So this is the question. 6505, I'm just going to queue these up. I still want to talk about what I'm talking about, but I'm going to queue these up for people. 6505. Okay. So here's the thing. I need screencasts for Livewire 3 for two reasons: education and money. There will be a bunch of free ones that will be education, and then there will be a bunch of paid ones that will be education and money. This is the only way I know how to make like solid money without killing myself, is screencasting. And I did that with V2 and it worked really well, but I need to do it with V3. The other thing that Livewire needs, the big one, is componentry, a word I invented, where you do something like Livewire modal and you just have it, or X modal, or X tabs, and then like, so what I kind of picture is all the basics just out of the box, and they're all, you know, ready to go. You got radio and stuff, and you can just wire model directly to it. Modal, you can wire model to modal, you can X model to modal. You know, this is something that needs to happen. And then the big vision is to have, you know, a built-in table builder. And I don't know if it looks like this, or if you extend table as a component, Livewire class called table. But yeah, basically data tables, form objects or form builder kind of thing, form wizard thing, component, you know, multi-step forms is another big one. Eventually something like Kanban, dragging, calendar component. You know, these are all things that I would love to address in a really official way. And to me, this is the ultimate vision for Livewire, that I've thought about all these things for years and talked about them ad nauseum, but I've never pulled the trigger on them because I never felt like everything was in place. It was like, Alpine's not ready, make Alpine ready. Livewire's not ready, make Livewire ready. And now I'm here, and Livewire and Alpine, I believe, are ready. And now it's time to actually do some of these things. But I have so many questions surrounding them. Yeah, Filament offers a lot of these things, and that's, you know, I'm not trying to like directly compete with Filament, but also like I don't want the existence of Filament to stop me from achieving my dream world, you know? So yeah, I've been saying this for a while. There's so much untapped potential in building Livewire components, right? There's like nothing with more potential. There's nothing I could do that would have more impact and provide more value than to do all these things. And my vision would be to provide a handful of them for free. And then there's some sort of pro plan or whatever where you pay money and then you get all the big stuff. And then that ideally would be a big enough business that fuels all the open source side and future development, and like has enough, you know, headless components, sensible defaults with Tailwind. But these are all questions I want to ask you guys. Like, I want to talk about this, like figure out the right thing, because I'm really unsure. Let me just catch up on this chat here. Headless components are styling. This is kind of what I picture. But I picture minimal Tailwind styling. Just like nothing crazy, nothing that feels like you can't easily modify it. But that's what I imagine is Tailwind styling by default, because I don't really want to style them myself. Like, if I think what I want, you know, is like, if I'm booting up a new project, I just want stuff, you know, like whatever. I just want stuff. that I can just bam, 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 put stuff in there and get a reasonably styled text input, text area input, date picker, modal, everything just done for me so I don't have to do any of it. And then I can tweak the colors and the border radius and the shadow and the fonts and stuff or whatever and kind of tune it to my system. But I want that stuff out of the box. So I think that's what I would do. And I would want to use Tailwind. I think I'll isolate. I'm just going to be like, that's it. It's Tailwind. Like if you use Bootstrap, unfortunately, that's a bummer, but this is all going to be Tailwind. True. Yep. Official components will be great, but people are already making their own. Yeah, people are already making their own, and that is a fact. This is the thing about componentry. It is how do I put this? It's an easy idea. Like there's certain things that are innovative, like wiretap, maybe. Even that's an easy idea. That's not a great example. Wirestream maybe is something that's like innovative, or wire navigate, not even wire navigate. Something like components is the most obvious thing to build. If somebody has a new framework or tool, you can, make your claim by just building components. So there's tons of React component libraries, Vanilla.js component libraries, Web Elements component libraries. There's even now Livewire and Alpine component libraries for free. So I'm competing with people who are providing these things for free. So that is something that is a bummer from like a competitive standpoint, because it's like, oh, well, why would you pay for my thing if you can get their thing for free? And the answer is, well, if I make my thing good enough, if it gets paid, then I can put more into it, hire more people, build bigger stuff that others can't maintain as well, and tightly integrate it with Livewire. And like you in a trust, it's that trust. Like you're using Livewire and now you trust that like I already have like a few feature ideas for when I implement these things to make them like fast as hell. And when I implement them, I'll have those features because I'll build them for them. And then other component libraries can catch up, of course, but I at least have home field advantage where I can just like drive forward of making these like the best and most efficient things that they can be, built by the creator himself, kind of thing. And I'm hoping that that's enough to just carry me through. But it's possible that everybody goes, why would we pay for this if we could use, Josh Schmosh's component library for free? And that's that, whatever. And that's another reason I'm like so hesitant with component tree, because it's a big thing. It's not so hard to build. Some of them are hard to build. It's not, it is freaking hard to build, but it's hard to maintain because it's just an endless pit of bugs. And that's the thing, that I'm not going to build this thing until I am sure that I have the capacity to maintain it, or I am partnered with somebody who can maintain it for me, who can answer all the little questions and bugs. So yeah, I'm very excited for the new screencasts. I'll buy the Mace app. The old ones are the reason I'm using Livewire at the moment. Oh, cool. That's great to hear. Thanks. How can your VS Code cursor is work? Sometimes pipe, sometimes it's blocked. Oh, this is a Vim mode. So it's an extension in VS Code called AmVim, I think is what I use. Pretty sure. Yeah, AmVim right here. And it's just so that I can use Vim mode, like, in cursor mode, you're navigating between stuff, like navigate to the next caret, or to the previous letter T. V for like highlight, it's just Vim. And then I is when you're in injection mode or insert mode, and you can just type and move your cursor or whatever. I love Vim mode. Big fan. All right. We made components, but I would definitely swap them for official ones. Yeah, sounds good. Where are the payments? Yeah. It'd be cool if you could build them as custom elements. Agreed, Adrian. I think I've freaking thought about that. It's on the table for sure. Not sure though. Favorite feature is Wire Navigate. My dream of writing SPA. That's cool. My dream of writing without any framework is so close. Can you please look at some issues on that, if possible, of course. Raul, hit me with a list of discussion or pull request numbers, just in just comma separated list in the chat, just for at least my own reference. I know we got the no script thing, but just hit me with those links. Jess also loves Vim. Yeah, she's a wizard. I'm not in real Vim. I'm just in VS Code using Vim mode. Yeah, so Raul, because I can't follow like a big you know, if you post one and then it's going to get buried in the chat and then you post another one, just like collect your list of all the issues and discussions that you want me to look at for Wire Navigate that would make it up to snuff, collect them in a list and then paste them in a single comment. And then I will have that list. Even if we don't look at it on this stream, I'll at least have that list. Yes, that's probably the biggest con for freaking custom elements. Yeah, so this is kind of my dilemma. Let me ask you this. If you had to choose one, would it be screencasts or components? If you had to choose one that I work on, you know, let's say this takes me the next 4 months. Which one do you want? Drop in components from me or screencasts, basic education, deep education, building applications, you know. Yeah. Lay it out there. Funny, this could be 50-50. Hit me. What do you want from me? Components or screencasts? So we're pretty 50-50 at the moment. I think it's actually, I think exactly 50-50. Right. Screencasts, I would probably build some components there, but you know, they're not going to be as great as they could be. Decision freeze. Components already everywhere, but super deep and good screencasts, no. So here is the answer. Screencasts. Components. Andrew's like, I needed that combo box yesterday, bro. I hope the combo box is working for you. But yeah. Patricio, screencasts. Interesting. Can I make a poll in here? Is that a thing? That'd be pretty cool. Can I... Okay, hit... Oh, I can start a poll. Cool. I like this. Okay, I started a poll. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but if you already answered, answer again, please. Let's see. Okay. Fascinating. Really interesting to hear that. I don't care. I just want free access. You got it, Adrian. Adrian, you get free access for life. Adrian is core contributor, unofficial status. Screencasting. Wow. Crazy. That's pretty crazy. Well, all right. People like screencasting. Dude, I freaking love this poll feature. I'm going to use this. I'm going to overuse it for sure. Right. Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. People want screencasts. Not completely. It's evening out a little bit in the poll, but it's pretty much like twice as many people want screencasts than want components. More than twice. So Patricia better learn to fish than have some fish. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk screencasts then. What do you want? There's like, here's some potentials. There's what's new in V3, which honestly, just watch my Laracast video. Like that's between my two Laracast talks, I cover basically everything. What happened to GitHub sponsoring? Well, yeah, I mean, I do get income from GitHub sponsors, but it's gone way down because of GitHub killing PayPal. Killed like a good chunk of my income, and then just not producing new screencasts in a long time. It's just killed more and losing whatever. It's just I've gone dark to work on V3, so between all those things, sponsors are not what they used to be for me. Okay, so it's like, what's new in V3? Intro to Livewire. So this would be like new stuff, like Wire, Navigate, wire model changes, whatever. And this would be like everything, you know? But maybe it would more be like intro to Livewire would more be like installing, creating a component, you know? Creating a component. Gosh. Installing, creating a component, properties, and data binding kind of thing. Calling actions. This would be intro to Livewire. And then maybe there's like a dedicated series on Wire Navigate. Maybe there's a dedicated series on, you know, more specific things. I'm not sure how to do it. That's what's kind of, I got this paralysis going on. I'm going to end the poll, and then maybe it'll post the results in the chat. Cool. All right. More ways to use V3 like SPA with reusable components so you can rebuild based on V2 screencasts. Be happy to pay a recurring fee. Cool. Screencasts of making official components that are then for sale. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I did with Alpine components. And it's worked. And just make some more with V3 only stuff. You could add a deep section with synthesizers and other deep and cool things. True. How about creating free components in screencasts? Yeah, I mean, I could do that. Yeah. Adrian's idea is good. What's Adrian's idea? And just make some more with V3 only stuff. You can rebuild based on V2 screencasts. So you're saying Adrian is proposing, dude, just do what you did. Just redo everything you did. Is that what you're proposing? Like getting started. Just redo all these because, you know, this is V2. Where I used a goofy font. Yeah. Hi, Wally. Yeah, so maybe here if you're on a stream, you probably care less about this stuff and more like advanced stuff, you know, like creating custom components, synthesizers, whatever else. What screencast do you want? That's what I want to know. What do you want from me? Is it individual things on individual features, or would you rather see like a kind of basic intro to Livewire thing? And then this is a thought I had, is like sell kind of courses where I build applications. Like, let's build a CMS. Let's build an e-commerce app. Let's build a blog. Let's build a kind of deeper stuff like a onboarding flow or whatever, where I kind of like pick off a big chunk of application, even a whole application. And then it's like you get the code and you get the screencasts in full of me building up a thing from soup to nuts, testing, styling, building everything. And then it's like, if you want to build a CMS, just grab my repo, pull it down, and you're good to go. This could be huge, but I'm interested. So just hit me. What do you want from me? What is the most helpful thing for you? So, all right, advanced stuff. Everybody's saying advanced. Building projects, says Laravel Screencast. Sweet and tasty knowledge. It's funny. Yeah, advanced stuff. Yeah, modals, showing deeper interaction with Alpine. Gotcha. That's good to know. Most people don't know how to use it. I just assume everybody does. I think about security problems and how to prevent it would be useful. That's true. JS lib integration, definitely. A few months ago, I wanted the basics, but now the advanced stuff, it all has value. Sure. Got to show Austin Cameron up somehow. Got it. Why? Adrian, performance tricks. Yeah. Nested modals. Yeah, heavy event usage, onboarding to complex pages so that UI does not freeze. intro for V3 for free and we pay for advanced stuff because building a project would cover anything about Livewire. Group notifications with clickable actions. Jason Beggs, you're still here, bro? Free screencasts for all the basics, more advanced techniques, and our application builds that are paid. Searchable dropdown where the options are retrieved and filtered in the backend database. Yeah, right. Collab with Laracasts. Problem with collabing with Laracast, Jeffrey actually pays like way more than any other platform, but he doesn't pay as much as I can make on my own. It wouldn't be like a full thing, a full business for me. It would just be like a job. Performance optimization, definitely advanced with real world apps, so it's not too abstract. Right. So, all right. Yeah, Mark, this is ideas for, well, I'm open. I want to know ideas to make money for sure, because that's what I'm trying to do. But I want to know what you guys want. And so we've kind of discovered that like you're more interested in screencasts than you are in components. And then like it's like, what do we do with screencasts? And like intro needs to happen. And this is, the problem is I have this paralysis with screencasts right now because this is the most boring thing. I want to do the advanced stuff, you know? This is boring. Intro to Livewire. And then I think I do need to kind of mirror like, you know, a basic form with validation, like that kind of a screencast. Like that's a really important thing. Basically rebuild the basics of like data tables, like building a data table. Yeah. What are the most valuable screencasts from this list on V2? Is it intro, like getting started? Is it a form with validation, the individual elements, notifications, custom form inputs, file uploads, data tables? What is it? Or these hack sessions? What's the most valuable thing if you had to pick one that I do? Data table? Yeah, data table, definitely. Data tables? Huh, yeah, data tables. All from data tables, and the form with validation was it for me. I like the idea of a Let's Build series. I've been watching full length Let's Build series from Andrew. Okay, yeah, cool. Happily paid for Wire Elements Pro, thinking it was supporting you, only to discover that Philo being a tip-top money-making... Yes. No, Philo is awesome. As far as tip-top money-making businessmen go, yeah, I have no affiliation with Wire Elements. He doesn't pay me or anything. But I've been talking with him about maybe doing something together. But the really nice thing about Philo is he contributes back to Livewire's core. He's a really active contributor. So it's like, yeah, he doesn't pay me a cut of Wire Elements, but he definitely pitches in with his sweat, which is really, really cool. Yeah, Let's Build series, true. I love the kind of Let's Build series, but I think it's like, which is kind of the hack sessions. It's like me just doing stuff that I don't have to really sweat. I can just, this is how I would build it, you know? But yeah, they're longer, they're less structured, where like these could each be full on courses, you know? So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, data table. So everybody was saying data tables and form validation. For me, it was data table, data tables, data tables, tables, the hack session. Somebody said the hacks that don't waste your precious time with the intro. Yeah, data tables. What I love about screencasts is that there's always some little nuance that I would never have used myself. It's very true. There's no doubt screencasts are the very best way to learn anything. They take more effort or attention because you have to strap in. If it's an hour of screencast, you have to watch that whole hour. Where if it's like an article, you can just flip through the page and find what you need. But yeah, by doing that, it covers it perfectly, you know. Cool. Mario likes the hack sessions. Yeah, Philo's love for sure. Yeah, how would you use... Sorry, is this like really boring that it's probably super boring. You should see the chat. If I'm just staring at the chat, you should see it. Go away, 1Password. Right? Yeah. So, yes, Philo is the man. Thank you, Philo. Build an app course. Yeah. Yeah, the file uploads is really deep. So, okay. How would you use Livewire? That's what Kevin wants to know. And you're right. Like that, the value at the end of the day is like, I guess it's different for different people, but that's how screencasts can kind of accomplish all that. But for a lot of people who are past the intro level stuff, it's like, how would I use Livewire? How would I tackle this problem? Yeah, refactoring other user stuff. I do like that. I think that's some of the most valuable stuff, but it's not the most marketable. And I really just go by myself. And when people do like design refactors and things, it's like I generally don't have the attention span to like follow that whole journey, I guess, personally, because you're already entering into a mess. So it feels like messy. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, okay. This is all great. Don't build again another CMS. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to build a CMS for real, but unfortunately, CMSs are a great way to demonstrate forms and data tables. You know, you have forms to create and edit users and such, and then you have tables to display and filter and sort all those users. So the CMS is kind of the perfect starting point, you know, for an app. Oh, thanks, Mark. Nice. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So, okay. That's been helpful. This is really helpful for me to have, you know, really what I need to do is screencasts for sure. I need to do intro because that has to happen. But then it's forms and tables. That's the start, is like establish a strong foundation with these two things. Get the intro, get the forms, get the tables, and then go big from there, you know. Make them super comprehensive, charge for the more advanced stuff, and that I could spin up like my business again, you know. How to use Livewire? I have a problem. Help. I'm an explorer. Okay, we have following users. I'm new. How to use Livewire? I have a problem. Help. I'm an explorer. Show me some fancy stuff. Exactly. Those are the different types of users that Adrian is saying. He's saying like, yeah, I'm brand new. What is this thing? And then there's, oh shit, I'm stuck. Everything blew up. Help me. And then there's, let's peruse cool stuff that Livewire can do. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I appreciate that help, guys. That's, yeah. Don't save this. Don't save. Yeah, that's really helpful. I had Martin, my designer guy, he already designed a screencast sort of area for this site. So I really have to just record them and then do all the kind of scaffolding. And I think I'm going to go away from GitHub sponsors because I'm really interested. Let me explain GitHub sponsors versus not, and then I'm going to do a poll. So currently, you know, when you're on Laravel Livewire and you're watching screencasts, and then you get login with GitHub, you have to be a sponsor. Unfortunately, I already am, so you can't see that flow. But GitHub sponsor Livewire. Let's see if that just shows up. Okay. So it used to be $14 a month. We don't have to talk. We're not going to like talk pricing right now. We can, but like that's not the question I'm asking right now. Is like, do you want to pay me through GitHub sponsors? First, it's like, think about that for a second, because users have to take an extra step. They have to be redirected to GitHub. They have to have a GitHub account, and then they have to put in their info to pay. Then they hit sponsor, whatever. Now they're sponsoring me. I have to do all this rigmarole to like get new sponsors out of the database or out of the API, put it in our database, keep track of if you're still a sponsor kind of thing. Like there's all sorts of complexity wrapped up on my end, big time for that. where V3, I'm considering it a new start, a fresh start. So I'm not just going to graft over all the code. And there's a few discussions. There's basically there's a few questions that I have that I'm kind of hung up on. It's like, do I recharge old users? The answer is almost definitely no. And you're definitely a biased group because you all have probably paid me at some point and don't want to pay me again. Do I grandfather in old subscribers? Whatever. And the answer is almost certainly yes, but it's a little more nuanced than just yes. Do I grandfather in current subscribers? Do I use GitHub sponsors still? Or simple paddle, card, and PayPal? And then, yeah. So, do I get grandfathered in? Do I use current sponsors still or simple paddle? And are those the two questions? I feel like I had another one. I definitely had another one. I don't know, but whatever. Oh, and then is it monthly? Whoops. Or one-time payment? And then how much? And so when I'm asking you these questions, if you are there and you're like a person who you want to pay nothing, I mean, you probably want to support me somewhat, but it's like, I'm going to ask these questions and just I don't know, I'll just ask them. But, understand that we have competing incentives. You want more money and I want more money. So I want you to pay more, you want to pay less. So let's just first talk GitHub sponsors and paddle. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, but I'm going to put the poll, and this is going to be, what do we use for payment? And this is paddle, card, and PayPal, or GitHub sponsors. The pro of GitHub sponsors is that maybe people are like, oh, I'm sponsoring open source, and they'll be more willing to pay money. The pro of paddle is I own it. GitHub can kind of F me over if they just decide to cut stuff off. So, and yeah, people, the results are coming in. They're coming in fast, and it's paddle. So, yeah, this is kind of great. Maybe it's a mistake to just user source all your decisions, but I should just do this for every decision I need to make. Just what do you guys think I should do? And then I don't have to frickin' stress. It's just done. Paddle. Great. Use paddle. Okay. Lemon squeezy. Sure, right. One of those. Doesn't have to be paddle. Just, Right. Yes. You can still sponsor me, of course. That'd be nice. Hard for business to do. Right. GitHub sponsors is hard for a business to do. That's true. And they kind of burned me with their PayPal thing. Yeah. Jason Beggs. He's saying it. Jason Beggs speaks. We listen. Does GitHub have polls like this so we can vote the fix for PRs? GitHub does have polls for discussions. I don't know. Somebody could probably make something like that, a poll thing for GitHub. All right, so that's been answered. What do we do with current subscribers? So here's maybe the thing. If you paid, let's say you paid $99 for the current situation of screencasts a year ago. I'm going to end the poll. I have my answer. Let's say, yeah, you paid $99 one time, or it's kind of it's complicated because if somebody sponsored me for 3 years paying $14 a month, they are entitled to the world, in my opinion. They should be grandfathered in to whatever I'm doing. If they sponsored for $14 a month last month, I don't know. It's tricky. Oh, it's so tricky. A part of me wants to just like do something simple, like let's say, yeah, like all current subscribers get a discount code. Exactly. And then you're on our platform from now on. For people who've done a one-time sponsorship previously, you could do a sliding discount on some scale. If they paid a long time ago, you could give a smaller discount. That's tricky, Jason. You're right, but that's tricky. And I don't even know if I have access to how much people paid, you know? Like GitHub is a freaking nightmare with that kind of thing, their interface. So it's really like, did we scrape enough data when they sponsored to know that? And Jason would actually know better than I think. If they paid recently, they get a bigger discount. Right. So I kind of would just want to do like across the board. But let me ask, before we do this, let's ask monthly or one time. So in the beginning, I did $14 a month. And I did that for a while. And then Adam Wathan is always talking about charging one time, because what I learned was the curve goes like the churn curve goes like this. It's like yoink, people sponsor $14 for 1 month, absorb all the content they can, maybe download it illegally, I don't know, and then they bounce. Like the churn rate was huge for 1 month subscribers. So I had a decent base of like monthly subscribers, but that was built up off of the loyal people. Then a lot of the like incoming people, random people, the bulk of the people would drop after 1 month, 2 months often, 3 months, and then the people who stuck around an entire year were few. So I thought $14 times a year, that's like 150, whatever. Like let's charge $99, which is like whatever, over half a year's worth, and then just charge it one time, and then I'll make more money. And I did initially, but I wonder if that was worth it, because it went from tons of people could pay $14 and bounce after a month. Get in, get out, get their content. People in other countries that don't have that, the US dollar is like way more powerful than their currency. So it's like a big, huge expense for them. When I bumped up to 99, I probably like radically restricted the amount of people who could pay. So, but they were paying more. So it's like really confusing to know what to do. It's like, do I go for a monthly thing or go for $99 one time? This is tough. It's tough. This is just churn city. This might be too expensive. So let me like catch up on these chats and ask. Thanks guys for solving all my problems here today. This is actually, I am not a millionaire. So do that. Build a system. We stored one-time payments amount of date purchase. We stored one-time payment amount on the date they purchased. No clue about monthly sponsors though. Great. Okay. Jason knows. Alpine UI components also with it. Right. That's the other thing, is if you did Alpine components, do you get a discount? They're probably, I think I would like to just have an across the board, like if you paid us money in the past, here's a 25, 30% discount or something. One-time is really helpful for people living in a one-time payment is really helpful for people living in a not so developed country where even owning a simple credit card is hard. I don't care. I would pay in full, just thinking in general. That's why you do auto drip feed content. I hate that shit, but I hear you. Do both maybe. I need to do that. You're validated, but I hate that. I like just doing stuff I'm inspired by, which means everything's sporadic. Do both maybe. I do a bigger initial amount and pay monthly after. Interesting. That's a very interesting model, actually. Charge one time what you would monthly for a year. Charge one time what you would monthly for a year. Right. So I think that would be like $14 times 12. 168. And I don't know. If Screencast will get updates every month, then it could be right. +1 for lifetime. Could be yearly. The cool thing about one-time payments is that your pool of potential customers is always going to grow. Not always going to grow. Hopefully always going to grow. But yes, that's definitely the mechanism that makes it work. You have to provide. Yeah, you're right. But I think in my experience, it didn't change the world for me. I think I made a few grand more a month, which was a lot, but it was less than I expected it to change. And then That was a few grand more total. I don't think it was more. Yeah, it's like complicated. I can't even figure it out myself. The economics of like my experience of that economics. Yeah, you have to provide regular content to keep subscribed. So, and I could do that if I partnered up with somebody. I can't commit to being a regular content producer because I'm a sporadic person. I'm going to go deep on like a Livewire feature or something, and I'm not going to be making content for a month or something, or 6 months. Pay once for products, always new programmers in the world. You can still provide both, but I would go for one time. GitHub sponsors use Paddle charges because GitHub sponsors because Paddle charges extra taxes. That's a big one, actually. Yeah, I'm going to make less money because Paddle charges taxes, but GitHub sponsors, they have too much power. I am still like, they cut off my PayPal and I lost thousands. So that was a bummer. I'm still sponsoring. I included it in my budget. Livewire and Alpine made my life so much better. Nice. Thank you, Israel. Parity purchasing power support. Yeah, this is a really tough one. Just briefly, this is the idea, like use something like the Big Mac index to know, how much $14 for me, how much is that to you in your country? It might be like 60, like for me, equivalent. So you just update that. The problem with purchasing power, parity purchasing power, is it's great for the purchaser, but horrible for the seller, of course. And it's a tough one, because if I truly support it, like that $14 a month becomes like $1 a month for a lot of people, which impacts my, I guess maybe what I'm saying is I still have to pay $5 for a Big Mac in my country, So it's like, again, I get it. And I feel like a dick saying this, but it's the truth, is that like purchasing power parity purely helps the buyer, and I think screws over the seller in a sense. I think there's some middle ground that's ideal. What I always do, if somebody emails me, I give them like a 50% discount for purchasing power. If they're like, I'm in a country that that the currency is not as strong, and I'm just like, here's a 50% discount. That's just what I've been doing forever. We'll probably keep doing that because but I don't know. I'm interested in opinions on that, but for me, it's like it would reduce my income so drastically that I don't want to do it, because my Big Mac still cost $5, So offer a monthly subscription for people who want to support you. Yes, PPP is more important. Yeah. I mean, I'm really all ears. Like I do want to hear if I have the wrong take. Yeah, I'm targeting individual developers. Yep. Definitely targeting individual developers. That's the move. A lot of companies don't do stuff. They don't pay stuff. It's crazy, but they don't. Hackers Incorporated with Jason Cohen, the ideal bootstrap business. That is a fantastic. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I think he did like a talk called that. This is a fantastic talk, but I listened to that Hackers Incorporated as well. But I don't know if their situation is like mine. I think the React and Tailwind users that are buying Adam's stuff, he has such success with one-time stuff because I think the Livewire user base is more distributed and doesn't have as much money personally than like the React Twitter or Tailwind user base. I think they have more money and are more willing to pay Adam $250 to $400 than the people using Livewire, in non-first world countries, and I feel like that's a big amount of my user base. I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. Let me ask you a few more questions and we'll wrap this up. At Spotsy, we limit the PPP ratio on our sales. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a cool strategy. Just like set a threshold for yourself of like, I'm going to segment like 10% of sales is going to be PPP. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying, I gotcha. So it's like PPP, but only up to like a 25% discount or something, or only up to a 50% discount or something like that. We're in a developer economics course and fascinating to hear someone else go through this in real time. Oh, cool. No, like a max, percent of, reduction. That's smart. Actually, that could really help. Okay. So let me ask you a few questions. I know to use Paddle. That's helpful, but I'm looking like, can I actually solve these other problems? Can you help me solve these? So let's start a poll. And this is going to be like, let's say what to do. and let's say monthly, yearly, one time. And just hit me with whatever your gut says. You know, I don't know how to color your opinion on this or whatever, but just whatever you think is ideal, just hit me with it. And then we could talk pricing in a minute. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and helping me with this. Because these are the things that stop me from doing stuff, because these feel like really complex problems with no clear answer. One time. All right. But I'm willing to do one time, but it's got to be worth it, you know? It's got to be. And what does one time cover, you know? Yeah. Monthly plus initial 100%. Monthly plus initial. All right. Well, let me restructure this, because clearly we have a winner. I'm going to end this poll. And let's see. Let's do this. Let's say, yeah, definitely sporadic content. So I'm going to keep one time on here, which is really lifetime. Then there's, it's really like one time for products. So with one time, you get everything. One time for products, I'm picturing if I split the screencast out into like more like courses and then charge like $99 a piece. And then one time might be like $149 one time. I imagine as a buyer, you would prefer this, but this gives me more upside potential, you know, and really part of it is wanting more money, but the other part of it is wanting more motivation, because if it's just one time, when I launch new stuff, I'm only getting payment from new people. Where if I really love the incentive of like a clean product where like you put into it and then it's sale day, you know? And so part of me thinks that I'd be way more motivated here. The content would be better packaged. But all right, let me bump this down to make this more appealing. Okay. Oops. How do I start the poll? Gotta start poll. Okay. So hit me with this. I want to know what's going on here. You can vote against this by doing one time, but you know, I love the idea of like if I could release a whole course on forms, soup to nuts, everything to do with like custom JavaScript integrations for forms, every type of blade component for your form inputs, like do everything I can possibly do, put into a big bundle called Form Awesomeness or something, maybe one for tables, or maybe those are in their one bundle that's like Livewire Essentials, and then there's another one called like let's build a CMS, let's build e-commerce, and each one is a standalone product that you pay for, and maybe there's like a access to all for like $2 million or something. I just joke, but okay, that's interesting to hear that this isn't a bad idea. Yeah, it could help me a lot. Yeah, exactly, Mac. That's what's going on. Yeah, so this seems like an ideal place to offer both. Andrew, what are you saying? Are you saying to offer both? Like, can you just elaborate on that? Because I feel like you could be saying two different things. I want to know what you mean. What's both? Like one-time purchase for stuff, or you get the God package, which is like both. Okay, Andrew's saying both. So you mean like you could pay $50 a pop. That is true. And then the full set I would make more probably. I guess to start the move is just start with one product and charge $49, maybe. I don't know. What's this number here? What's the big number? How do you feel about these numbers? I feel like $49 is a doable amount for people. If enough value is provided, it doesn't break the bank, and you don't feel like you're shelling out a ton of money, you know? And then, but it feels like enough that I could make a good amount of money on a launch, you know? And yeah, 250 feels more right. So like 249. Yeah. So, okay. So this is the pricing model. 49 per course. 249 lifetime access. That's the pricing model. Hiya! Oh, that's cool. I like it. I like it. I feel like this is it, right? Use paddle, make one course, 49 per course, 249 for lifetime. I can even offer the lifetime up front, be like, I know there's only one course, but it's going to pay off later, you know? Pay per product. Yeah, Andrew, that's it. Bingo, buddy. Yes. Yep. Lifetime will F you after course number 5. That's a long way away. And I don't think it will. I'm fine with that. Yeah. The only problem with like waiting. So what about this? Like just do 49 for one course, then come out with lifetime access once I have a bigger body of work for 249. Does that feel like, wait, I already paid $100 for 2 other courses. I wish you would have came out with this in the beginning so that I already have it and I would have already saved that money. You know, how do you solve that problem? You know? Do you come out with 249 out of the gate? Let's end this poll. Nice. Guys, I am like flipping out because I feel like these are decisions I've stressed about for so long and they're just getting knocked out because we're putting our heads together and you have actual, like, you're the user, you know? Right. They're taking a risk. Yes. Do you let people take the risk on the 249 initially? Or do you do some weird thing like introduce it later with a discount for people who've already bought them? You know? I feel like just do them both out of the gate. One's a risk, but whatever. Okay, Adrian says start without lifetime. Later with discount. That seems complicated, you know? Then I have to like figure out discounts and stuff. Conditional discounts based on, which maybe is not that big of a deal, but use the excitement, Andrew. So you're saying just offer them both. And people like, you know, a good amount of excited people will just be like, oh yeah, sign me up. Let's do it. Yeah, I feel like it's not I can't imagine that I'm not going to offer more than $249 of paid content. If I know people paid this, like, I'm not going to stop at 5 courses, you know? But it does put in perspective that, like, well, I have to come up with 5 courses. So maybe I don't do, like, maybe out of the gate, I have forms and data tables as 2 separate courses, you know? Because if I have like forms and tables and charts and like the big behemoth for $49, and then it's like, I feel like all the other courses have to be of sort of equal value provided, which is a lot. But if I break it out, like forms, tables, file uploads can definitely be its own thing. Like let's just hash out a few of these out of the gate. Like what would they be? Multi-step form wizards for sure. Charting could be an entire course, no doubt. And what else? Like, I mean, there's 5 out of the gate that are just there. Third party, you know, I could see it like third party JS, third party JS integrations. Like I could see breaking it out into more specifics. I don't know. You know, one lifetime, use bundles, Bundle with Alpine. Yeah, I could bundle with Alpine. Right. Kevin. Smart. Yeah, I could totally do that. Yeah, and that would incentivize people right out of the gate. Yeah. Security. Totally. There could be a whole bit on that. Yep. True. And yes, it's my pricing. I could make a piece cheaper. That's true. Yep. $299 lifetime. I can always up it later. But that's interesting. Yeah, so weird. The difference between this seems big to me. All right, quick poll. What is it? Which one is the lifetime? Oh, performance. True. Yeah. Okay. $249. It's not overwhelmingly $249, which is kind of nice. Like I could potentially do $299, but like how much Alpine Components is already supposed to be $150, so that you're really only paying $100. You know, so if I bundle it with Alpine Components, that's maybe more compelling. But lifetime plus Alpine Components. Yeah. And then people are going to be like, well, I already paid for Alpine Components. Can that be cheaper? Well, I don't know. No. No, to keep it simple. But bundle with Alpine, $299. Yeah. I mean, I could do that. That's kind of nice, actually. Yeah. All right. I'm doing the math wrong. I am? Did I do the math wrong? 150. 250 minus 150 is 100, right? I don't know what you're meaning, Adrian, but okay. So if you realize any of these are easier, you can also make a $29 for a simple course to make more accessible for people to create. That's very true. Yep. That's right. Okay. So this is the clear winner, right? Like this is it. It's this. And it's this. And then it's 25% discount for past subs. Basically, let's say for past one time, I don't know, something like this, 25. I just kind of want to do it across the board even, but I wouldn't want like somebody who paid $14 for 1 month 3 years ago to get a 25% discount across the board. And is it a discount on lifetime? Is it 50% on lifetime and 0% on per course? You know, like I think I'd rather, this is a tricky one, is what do we do with a discount for past subscribers? Because there's different types of subscribers. There's like 1 month of $14 2 years ago. There's $14 for like 3 years loyally. And then there's 99 one time, you know, just period. And I feel like these people deserve different amounts of things, you know? Like I think these people can be in the same boat. These are the most valuable people, but these people can be in the same boat. This person, and ironically, these are the people who probably would want to pay more anyway. Like at least when I'm doing this for other people, like there's people in like Jeffrey, I'm just going to give him as much money as I can for his stuff. Adam, Jack McDade, you know, any of those people, when they ask for money, I give them money, like even if I'm not going to use the thing. Aaron Francis, Jonathan Renink. Andrew says you don't think that I need a discount. 0.3050. All right. What about? I would feel bad. Somebody just dropped $99 on Livewire V2 screencast last month. I feel like they should get like a 50% discount. You know? All right. Let's say I'm going to do 50% discount for past substantial subscribers. And then I can define that. But I think discount only applies to lifetime memberships, right? I'm overthinking discounts. No discount. No discount. All right, well, let me end this poll and ask you another one. I guess I can just start the poll and it'll autofill with yes and no. Cool. Discount or no discount? That is the question. Oh, that's really nice, Mark. Thanks. What's like the wording when you go to sponsor me? By sponsoring the framework, you'll get lifetime access to Livewire's Surge source code and screencasts. Like, did I just perjure myself or whatever? Like, that's tricky. You know? I didn't say Livewire V2s. So that's pretty weird. Caleb, you dummy. Yeah, Perry, you're absolutely right. If you paid $99 one time, this is the new question. All right, so the majority are saying yes. Let's just take that and run for a second. I hope these polls are as fun for you as they are for me. But yeah. Thank you, George. That means a ton, and it has. And I fully expect, yeah, I think, yeah, cool. Willing to start fresh, kick this off. You demand. Am I bound to offering all $99 people lifetime to the new stuff? Because of what I said on GH sponsors? Oh, my monitor turned off. Everything has gone dark. Okay. This is the question, folks. Why won't it let me start the poll? Question is too long. Okay, spawn. Yeah. Oh, Surge is it's a repository of like an application that I've built in the screencast. So it's like a GitHub repo with a full application. So you don't think I'm bound to that, huh? I feel like I am. People won't read that and go, wait a second. I guess like there's an argument to be made that it's implied that it's like the current screencasts. They're going to get access to the screencasts that they got access to for life. That Livewire site is not going down, and those screencasts are staying up. You're right that I should at least just change the wording on GitHub right now. Yeah. True. All right. Anyone missing this live will not agree to this poll. Right. True. If you don't have the context and the like goodwill for my plight, you know. So I don't know. I have to figure that out, basically. I mean, I just could give $99 discount to people. I mean, 50% is more generous than that. 50% discount to all past $99 one-timers, basically. You know? Change the wording going forward. Change the wording going forward and give people full on a as contacted basis. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But it's possible that I change my mind or somebody else convinces me that 100% discount goes to $99 one-timers, you know. Yeah. It's still going to be up there. They're going to get lifetime access to what they paid for, you know, which I think that's one of the biggest things. Hey, Mokash, thanks for hanging out. Mokash is a longtime contributor. We'd start over on V4. Yes, I think you're... Oh, I gotcha. You're saying, like, let's not do this all again on V4. Like, but I don't think there's going to be a V4 in the sense that V3 was to V2. I don't think there's going to be a V4 where I have to re-record everything, you know? Yeah. Oh, that's Adrian. We had this whole thing going here, bud. Adrian, why would you say that? Why would you say that? We just had consensus, bro. Okay. So that's great. Great context. We're fleshing this out here. We got one time, 49 per course, 249 lifetime, 299 plus Alpine components, 50% on lifetime to the past $99 one-timers, change the existing wording, and if somebody really complains, they get access. And that's the bit. We use paddle, and this is the bit. Free course. Livewire basics. Then it's paid. 99 lifetime plus Alpine components. That's a business, my friend. Here is I voted no. Okay. Here is maybe my final question, but I'm not going to say that confidently because I'm not totally sure. But does it all have to be me? Can Philo or Pavlis produce one of these courses? I guess that's confusing because this is yes and this is no or reversed. So let's just say I'm just throwing them out there. I haven't talked to either of them, but you know, it's like throwing this out there. This has got to be me. Right, Andrew, that's a good point. All right. Cheers, Mark. We're going to end this in a second anyway. I just need to know, like, in a perfect world, it's me. But I guess I'm asking, how much do you care? Basically. I should have pulled, like, I care a lot. I prefer it, but it's okay. Or, like, absolutely not. Do not do that. Yeah. I guess I'll definitely do the bulk of the big stuff. And then maybe in the future, in the gaps where I'm not like really amped about it, or I'm working on something else, somebody else can record something. And I can put it out there and it'll still be like more value to people. Yeah. Hey, Jeffrey. Yeah. All right, so it'll be me for now. For now, it's going to be me. This is the business model. Forget about componentry for now. That's the other note, that you guys forget about componentry for now. Focus on screencasts. Free course, Livewire basics. Get that done first. Then implement all this stuff and come out of the gate with a couple courses and then make income. Now, the hard part is doing this because will this be Wirecasts? No, but I should check if I have that domain. Because it's probably already taken. But yeah, so I'm looking at my domains right now just to see. Because I think I had ambitions of that. Whatever. Don't forget we're watching. So we are biases on. So our bias. Oh, that's true. Yep, that's true. Jason has some work ahead. Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, we solved a lot of problems. We solved some actual problems, some like code problems, and we also solved some more big picture. All right, that's good to know. Some big picture stuff. Yeah, this is like unbelievably valuable. I cannot thank you guys enough. Like, I am so thankful. So, yep. I think with that, any last words? Where is the... I gotta get that chat back. I closed it. Yeah. All right. So we're peacing out. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Thanks a bunch. I'm sure I'll do this. Actually, next Friday I'm traveling, so maybe I'll do it on Thursday. And then I think the Friday after that I'm traveling, so I'll do it on... This might have to be Thursday for the next few weeks. But I look forward to these big time. I woke up this morning excitedly thinking, oh, I'm streaming. Like, it's just really cool to hang out with everybody. Yeah, such a fun thing. All right. You got it, Raul. Thank you. All right. Peace out. I'm going to end the stream. Now, let me see if I can use... Let me see if this button works. I'm going to hit stop stream.